A warm welcome to you and thank you for joining us. By October 15, Mozambique goes to polls to electing a new dispensation. While the poll looks on the surface like a simple two-way contest between the ruling party that's the Frelimo party and against the opposition Renamo party, analysts say it, however, looks a very complex situation for the Southern African nation. President Filipe Nyusi is contesting to be re-elected for a second term in office, but a deadly insurgency is roaring in the nation's north, and political campaigning has been marred by hundreds of deaths and numerous reports of political violence.
That's right, Jerry. For the past month, the election campaign for the presidential, legislative and provincial elections for October 15th has been marked by multiple violent incidents targeting mainly candidates or opposition supporters. The main opposition party, the Mozambican National Resistance, accuses the government of preparing a large-scale electoral fraud. And finally, yesterday, Monday, the head of the General Election Observation Mission was killed by unknown assailants in his vehicle in a capital Gaza province, according to authorities.
Yes, with us now is Tom Burker. Burker is the editor of the news site Zitama News. He is with us now via Skype from Maputo. Tom, a warm welcome to you. Good morning. First off, what are the most important issues in this election?
Yeah, I think the biggest issue that President Nyusi, the incumbent president, and the other candidates are talking about is youth employment. Mozambique has a very young demographic profile, and high unemployment, poverty is a huge problem here in Mozambique. And that's all people want to hear, is that there's going to be employment. I don't know about if people are making realistic promises about it, but they are saying that this is the biggest problem they're going to tackle. Other than that, there's the odd promise of a road here or another bit of infrastructure there. But in terms of concrete issues, probably the one that you can hang on to is youth unemployment. But really, the biggest issue is whether you are or you aren't Frelimo, as ever in these elections. The opposition don't have much of a program. They're not Frelimo. They say they're going to tackle the corruption and mismanagement of Frelimo. And Frelimo are campaigning on, actually the last term we've had a lot of success. So they're asking people to vote on the back of that.
Well, let me come in here. President Filipe Nyusi has been in power since 2015 and is seeking a second term. How would you gauge his first term?
It's been pretty disastrous. I mean, it's been marked by the infamous hidden debts scandal where $2 billion in borrowing was basically discovered, or at least 850 million was known before Nyusi came into power, but then the rest of it was uncovered. Now, this was money which was borrowed and wasted and has gone missing, not on Nyusi's watch as president, but on the watch of his predecessor, Armando Guebuza. But this has been the term when the effects of it have been felt, and Frelimo is ultimately to blame. And President Nyusi was defense minister during that time, so he is not completely avoiding involvement as well, although nothing's been firmly pinned on him personally. His real achievement that people look at from this term has been peace. Sure, he's reached a peace agreement with the current leader of Renamo. There are rebel elements of Renamo who don't respect that. And so actually, ironically, after the signing of the peace agreement in July this year, we've had more violence in central Mozambique.
Speaking of peace, Tom, let's talk about the instability in Cabo Delgado province. There has been a spike in violence there. Are there worries that this might grow into severe unrest? And is there a strategy in place by the government to stop the attacks there? Tom?
I think the apparent lack of any clear strategy is what's causing concern that this is going to be an ongoing issue that Mozambique struggles to resolve. Mozambique has a very weak armed forces. They've battled with Renamo for many decades without scoring a decisive victory. And these insurgents look as if they will be able to continue causing trouble. And by trouble, I mean horrifically terrorizing defenseless villages in Cabo Delgado. And is it going to destabilize Mozambique? It already is, and it's destabilizing Cabo Delgado for sure.
And that means that authorities there have an important task there to stop any of such from happening or from taking place. Tom, I'd like to thank you, though, for speaking with us this morning. Thank you very much. This is how much we can take.